And you are watching / listening to another edition of Blewetts Blitz. Jets suffer a 23-10 loss to the Ravens. Situation where they were in the game for most of it. Honestly, like at this point, I understand rooting for wins because you want to see the staff improve. You want to have some hope for the future. Does going 4-13 versus 2-15 really do that? Does that really do that for you? I don't know. This game where they're competing, they're in the game, some critical penalties, some critical mistakes, kill them. But overall, a game where they are competitive with the Ravens, even though Lamar Jackson is hobbled, was slightly encouraging. A loss, but a win in terms of like development of some guys. Seeing A.D. Mitchell play well, seeing Mechie play well, which we'll talk about. Seeing some offensive linemen, Membu play well, Tippmann play well for the most part. Maui Noah. There was definitely some positives from this game. So competitive games where the young guys are showing some stuff, but also losing is kind of where I'm at. It's kind of what I'm rooting for at this point. Again, I don't think 2 wins does so much for the culture, being realistic. And I rather finish with pick 1, 2, or 3 than pick 5, 6, 7 because of a win or 2. So overall, not even mad. Like I'm watching the game. I'm mostly indifferent. I want them to play well and all that stuff. I'm not brokenhearted about, losing the game or anything like that. And we'll get into the specifics. I have until about 4 o'clock, maybe a little bit after, but I have about until 4 o'clock. So let's say hello to some people in the chat. The people who are in here. You seeing Eagle in here before. I didn't know Eagle today. Let's go, Joe. Excited to hear your perspective on the game. What positions would you prioritize in free agency? It's up, Neil, and you'll hear plenty, especially the Mechie stuff, which is an interesting conversation. But nonetheless, what I would prioritize offense, in general. Obviously, you evaluate the draft, and the draft works in correlation with your free agency. You could look at the draft and say, okay, they're really, again, this is hypothetical. I don't actually know about this draft like that, but it's really strong with linebacker and receiver. Are you going to go into the free agency then and spend a ton on linebacker and receiver? Maybe not. You kind of read what the draft is like and go the opposite way in free agency, or you just hit on the deals that are obviously presented to you if you think some guys are getting underpaid and things like that. But I would lean towards offense for obvious reasons, right? It's all about the development of the rookie quarterback who comes in, whether that be a rookie quarterback in top of the first, late first, early second. I think they will draft a guy in the first 2 rounds this year. We'll see what happens. Simpson's been struggling a little bit the last 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe he goes back to school. Maybe Dante Moore comes back to school. I personally think if you're pretty much guaranteed as like a top half of the draft, top half of the first round quarterback, you get about $10 million, $11 million a year, depending on where you're drafted as a quarterback in the first round. So, going back to school, potentially risking playing worse, getting injured. Again, look at Drew Allard, look at all these guys who go back to school and then they're, instead of a first round pick or second round pick the year prior, they end up being 5th, 6th round picks. So I would prioritize offense for obvious reasons, just for, to surround the rookie quarterback. So I definitely would like to do that. But, they need a tight end too. You need a receiver too, in my opinion. You need an interior offensive lineman. Obviously, it kind of hinges upon what happens with John Simpson, what happens with AVT, what happens with Myers. But you need to bring back, if not 2 of those guys, maybe 3 of those guys. We'll see exactly what happens. But offense, I'm leaning offense for sure. Driving in the left lane slows, dude. It bothers me so much when people do that. And like, again, you guys know I'm a police officer. Like I would try to pull people over for that. The problem is driving as a police officer, everybody slows down. So I feel bad. Like I would like to be in a car that's nondescript so I can see people doing it. Because when I get behind people, everybody starts driving 45 miles per hour. So everybody's driving slow. So it's hard to like get it in live time, but it is illegal to drive in the left lane unless you're passing. And for the people who have been to, I can't speak for all of Europe. I didn't drive in Germany when I went, but when I went to Italy, even if you're going 100 miles per hour in the left lane, as soon as they pass a car, they get back into the right lane. Like literally the second they get past the car, they move back into the right lane, and traffic flows so much smoother. So for the people who drive 40, 45 miles per hour and people are whipping around you in the right lane, it's because you're a douche. So please, PSA for the 1,000, 2,000 people, whoever that listen to this, if you're not passing a car in the left lane, get into the right lane. This is all stemming from a tweet I had earlier in the week, but like it drives me bananas because then going in the right lane and passing that car is also illegal. So it's like I'm doing illegal stuff because they're doing illegal stuff, but I'll be the one who gets pulled over, even though I have somewhat of privileges. I don't think I'll get in trouble, but still, it's like that's bothersome. It pisses me off. Driving slow, dude. I 1,000% would pull you over, Jan. If you did it, if I saw you driving past and you're doing it on purpose, I'm pulling you over and I'm giving you a ticket. Even though you give all the super chats, I just know that I know you have some money of all the super chats. Oh, which here's one. Perfect timing. Is this what semi-competent quarterback play looks like? And being realistic, yeah, I think semi-competent is a good way to phrase that too, Jan. I just finished the first half of my full review for the Jets game. It's not even like Tyrod was good in this game. He was just okay, like 200-ish yards, a touchdown, and a pick, obviously, like the last throw of the game. But he missed Mason Taylor wide open over the middle. The sack on 4th and 2, whatever it was at the end of the first half, he hangs on to his front side read for way too long. And if he gets back to the backside read, Breece Hall is sitting there on a check down wide open for a first down, but he hangs onto the front side read too much and he drifts out of the pocket. He missed AD Mitchell on a corner route and smash concept for a touchdown. It would have been a hard ball to fit in there, but a good quarterback fits it in there. He missed them. He either overthrew it or threw out of bounds on purpose. It's kind of hard to tell, but he missed that one. And then obviously AD Mitchell deep. That one play, again, that's another touchdown. I don't know how far he was away, 50, 60 yards, whatever it was, but he beat that corner bad. And it's not even questionable that if he had led there, obviously assuming a catch, it's a walk-in touchdown. So you're talking about a 2-touchdown potential game from AD Mitchell. The first throw of the game, he was late to AD Mitchell on the out route. He either needs to throw it at the bottom of his drop or speed up to the second hitch and throw the ball with some velocity. He gets the second hitch slowly and then throws the ball, too much air on it, and the corner should undercut that for a pick. And we're still talking about how he's better than Justin Fields and looks competent, So like, yeah, it's competent, but definitely wasn't good. I can tell you that. Like, I was not impressed with Tyrod either. But he missed plenty of plays, but better than Fields, right? Looked like an NFL offense at least at some points. So yeah, that's what it looks like. I appreciate the super chat, Jan, but yeah, the left lane stuff. My God. I have some pet peeves. Left lane stuff. People who don't put their shopping carts back. I automatically know you're a bad person. When I let somebody walk past me, like even if it's in a crosswalk, if I slow down my car to let you go past me and you don't even acknowledge me, it drives me crazy. Like I know what type of person you are. I don't even care if it's like, you don't have to like stop and shake my hand, but just one of these or one of these, just something to acknowledge. Hey man, you let me go. It's like, I have pet peeves, that's for sure. Daniel Murphy, what's up, dude? Can AD Mitchell and Mechie be our 2 and 3 next year? Can they? I think they could. Do I want them as our 2 and 3 next year? No. I would move them both down a spot. AD Mitchell has very, very real potential to be a good number 2 in this league because of how fast he is and how well he moves and how good of a route runner he is at times. But it's a little bit more unproven, right? So I want to surround the quarterback with everything possible. So, if they continue to trend the way they are, like I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world, but I wouldn't be overly thrilled with it. So I would say AD Mitchell 3, Mechie 4. Go and watch the breakdown, either the short one or the long one. This is all I'll say. Mechie, the stats again, and it's not smart content wise to shit on players who had good games because everybody's saying had a great game. 2 of his 3 or 4 catches were 1,000% scheme. His touchdown was 1,000% scheme. And I broke it down. One of the first down catches he had as well. I think the first catch of the game was a schemed up catch as well. Both of them involve man coverage and sending the tight end or the 2 vertical and him cutting underneath of it. either inside or outside. So 100% scheme that he was so successful. He had the one route like on a pivot or a choice route where he did a good job against Humphrey. That was a good catch. But overall, it was straight up scheme while he played so well. So just being realistic with Mechie, decent game. Last game, decent game. The guy fell down for a touchdown. So I'm not like, oh my God, Mechie's been amazing. I think he could be a 3 or a 4. But if you're just basing it solely on that game, then you're crediting Engstrand more than Mechie. Like being realistic, I could show you the plays if you really wanted me to, Dan. If not, then just go watch the review or just trust me if you trust me that much. But 1,000% scheme. So yeah, I would say 3 and 4, not 2 and 3. I think they'd be okay with him as 2 and 3, but I'm not going to sign up for that necessarily. That's why I lost their wars, because they can't drive. What, Italy? And use the right there. Come on, Jan. Aren't you like a lawyer or something? You can't even spell there, dude. Embarrassing. Indifferent against the machine. Thoughts on trading for Joe Burrow? He's financial albatross for their cap, or to their cap. They can't get deep players because of his salary. He's 28 and a proven quarterback. Yeah, but if they were worried about paying guys on offense and having to focus more on defense, then you don't sign Higgins and Chase, right? You sign one of them and then take the other money and lump that over into the defense. You're not going to say, oh, well, we're paying too much on offense. Let's get rid of our most important player on offense. If anything, you try to figure out how to get rid of, T. Higgins or Chase or something like that. So I don't think teams just, I get that he's injured and stuff, but you don't get rid of a top 5 quarterback, right? Like I severely doubt we'll ever do it. Would I trade a first and a second or a third? You're going to have to trade much more than that. You have to trade at least 3 first-round draft picks. You're talking about a 28-year-old top 5 quarterback. You have to trade 3, 4, 5 first-round draft picks for him. Would I consider it? Yeah. I don't think it's worth entertaining or like putting my thinking about it, because it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Jesse, what's up, dude? A lot of open receivers not thrown to. Yeah, and the one play where he could have had, again, I forget the yardage, a 50, 60, 70-yard touchdown to A.D. Mitchell. The reason he didn't get it there was because Fashanu got beat, and he's going to throw the ball, and he gets hit. So it's out of bounds instead of like where is this play? Just so you guys can see. I'm not going to, again, go to the full breakdowns if you want. This is more simple type stuff, but just to show you, where is this one? 80 miss. Yeah. Okay. So look, I'm not gonna get into the intricacies of this, but let me take off your comment real quick, Jesse. I'll just fast forward a little bit. Look at A.D. Mitchell to the bottom. If this ball is led, he's gone. It's a touchdown, right? No doubt about it, assuming a catch, right? A yard or 2 of separation vertically, a yard or 2 of separation, or 2 or 3 yards, horizontally all day. This is a touchdown. Why? Why is it not a touchdown? Fashanu. And again, if you guys have been following me and you've been, if you've been following me, especially in the film reviews, Fashanu, his punch is way too often the same thing. And guys, time it. Same thing. Left outside, right underneath. Times it, gives up the hit. We missed a 50, 60, 50-yard touchdown because of it. Okay. So that play, you had Breece Hall open on a check down on that 4th down where he took a sack. You had Mason Taylor wide open on that one play. So yeah, there was guys open. And people like shitting on Engstrand. I get it. He's not completely proven. He specifically needs to improve quite a bit on short yardage situations. But you talk about the schemes in terms of getting Mechie open. Like everybody's hyping up Mechie this week, and you should be hyping up Engstrand, because it's 1,000%. It was 1,000% him. I'll just show you the touchdown, and it's basically the same thing with the other play. Mechie scheme touchdown. And again, I get into much more intricacies in the review of why this works so well. And basically it's because of the inside stem right here of Mechie to the bottom. The inside stem kind of throws the DBs off. Again, I get more into it, but this is a scheme touchdown. It's knowing it's man coverage. It's knowing coverage rules, and sending Mechie underneath here is going to make the inside DB take him, and he cuts back to the outside and is completely out leveraged to the outside on the outbreak. That's a scheme touchdown. Like, yeah, he catches it, he dives in for the touchdown, but is this a play where like, oh my God, holy shit, Mechie's amazing? Or is that like, yeah, that scheme was very, very nice drawing it up like that? And that another catch was like that. So credit Engstrand more than you are Mechie for those plays. But nonetheless, I think he's a good route runner. I think he's tough. I like the fact that he's 190 pounds and the Texans were using him in line. So were the Jets a little bit. So he's a guy who I like, but I'm not like, oh my God, he's proven yet. Like we gotta relax on that. Right. And I'm hoping he can be, but I don't watch that. And I'm not going to just blow smoke up his ass and lie to you guys. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, so Tyrod is a solid backup, but he's still a backup quarterback for a reason. Yeah. One, the injuries. Two, he's 37. He can't move as well as he did. He has, and there's a difference. Like when I say arm strength for guys, I don't mean throwing the ball 60 yards deep, because mostly everybody can do that. Even Tua can probably throw the ball 50, 55 yards, maybe even 60 if he like crow hops into it. It's more about putting drive on balls, and Tyrod doesn't drive balls as well as he should. Look at the both of the missed touchdowns, I believe. What game did he come in late? Whatever game he came in late, both of those should have been touchdowns. Damn, I forget what game that was. But yeah, the flea flicker puts too much air under it and hesitates, and then you have the play where I believe Tyler Johnson or I think it's Josh Reynolds maybe was open for a touchdown. He puts too much air under it. So yeah, not great arm strength, lack of mobility, injuries. When he was at the Bills, though, he was a low-level starter. It's just now that at this age, he's definitely a backup. So, Chris B, what's up, dude? Appreciate that. Please support. I'm texting and driving. Excuse the typos. I don't care. Like, realistically, how do I phrase this? I can't really get in trouble because I'm not doing it now. But like, does everybody do it for the most part? Yes. Is it actually stupid? Yes. Like it is stupid. Everybody's attached to their phones. I can tell you one time when I was driving back from college, I was texting on my phone or looking at my phone, whatever I was doing. And I was my dad's pickup truck at that point because I beat the shit out of my Xterra because I kept taking it to the mud flats and I destroyed the transmission. And I was driving my dad's truck and looking at my phone, and I was behind a car in the left lane, but then that car then went like a little bit over to take a left. And I was looking at my phone and I swerved at the last second. Thank God there was not a car in the right lane because I would have smashed into it. I don't know how I missed the car because I thought I was going to hit it. I must have missed it by this much. It's stupid. It is. Do it at red lights. You can still get stopped for that, but do it at red lights. Not when you have kids in the car, especially. Like if you're going to, hopefully you don't hit somebody else with their kids in their car, but if you're going to get in a car crash and die, then hopefully your kids aren't in the car. From the game film, how did the defensive line perform interior and edge? They did good, dude. Like in terms of the run game, they held the Ravens to like 2-3 yards of carry, so they did good versus Henry. It felt like the Ravens went a little bit more inside in the second half, and they started getting more. Better success running interior instead of exterior in the first half. But overall, they did a good job from the defensive line. Briggs had a sack. Briggs had a run stuff versus Tyler Linderbaum. Phillips saved the touchdown. The play where Mark Andrews like drops it and Tony Adams contests it. People don't, you have to watch the film to see it. But the only reason that it happens is because Harrison Phillips tips the ball. So he tips the ball and it starts to flutter, and it still gets to Mark Andrews, but it's obviously at a slow pace because it's tipped. And then Tony Adams gets there to break it up, even though Mark Andrews just straight up drops it. Probably because of like the timing. He thought the ball's gonna be there quicker than, guy rushing him and all that stuff. So Harrison Phillips had a good game. JJ's been a little bit up and down. I think he's been a little bit better as a pass rusher than I thought he would be coming back, but a little bit worse as a run defender than in previous years. But overall, okay. Will McDonald disappeared. He's a very volatile in terms of one good game, one bad, good, bad, or bad, bad, good. Like he disappears for times. And he disappeared a little bit too much in this game. So want to see more consistency from Mason Taylor or Will McDonald. But yeah, overall, interior awesome. Exterior, okay, I would say. Mason Taylor gets open at will, yet the less mobile Fields can't see him or refuses to throw it to them. Oh, you're saying less mobile Fields like Tyrod? I'll give Tyrod more credit than that. But yeah, he was wide open on that. I forget if it was a deep over or dig. He was wide, and Tyrod didn't throw him the ball for whatever reason. Again, watch the film review. $3 a month for just the film reviews. That's for a month, plus every single free agent they bring in. Mostly, I think I did like 31 reviews last year. Every free agent they bring in, I'm going to do like 15, 16 reviews of Jets players like Harrison Phillips, Briggs, Brownlee, all those guys during the season. And then every draft pick. So, and maybe a UDFA if there's like one that people are like hyping up a lot. I'll watch them. I didn't watch any last year, I don't think. Like I did like Zonovan Knight, I think. I think I did. Who was the Isaiah Dunn was his name a few years ago. I watched him. You guys. Roberts, what's up? I have a feeling that AG is telling the players we want to win, wink, wink, the tank is on. They're not doing that, realistically, Roberts. Like, they're trying to win. They're trying. Basically, Moose, I don't know how to feel about the fourth down call, but I like AG as being aggressive now at the bad roster. So when things turn around, he's already making, like, realistically, people, what it is with the Monday morning quarterbacking, Moose. If they got that, if they converted that, there'd be a lot less criticism of it on social media. It's because they didn't get it that people are being critical, being realistic. With that being said, do I agree with going for that situation? No. Right. But acknowledging the fact that it's being over discussed because of that. Analytics tell you in that situation to go for it. Like, that's what the analytics nerd said on Twitter this week. With that being said, like, game flow type stuff, your third quarter, 10-7, right? Like 40, 45-yard line, whatever it is, 4th and 2. At that point, if you don't get it, you're basically giving them a field goal and forcing a team that hasn't scored a lot of touchdowns this year to then drive and score a touchdown with a quarter and a half left. I'd rather play the field position game, one of the best punters in the game, pin them deep, and then again play field position and only be down a field goal. Instead, they go for it. They don't convert, obviously, and you have a situation where now they drive down and score a touchdown. But I'd rather play field position game. I do think it's being over discussed though because they didn't get it. That's just realistic. Like, there was a third down, I think last week, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, where Isaiah Davis ran for it and got a first down. There's a situation early in the year, 3rd and 5, Isaiah Davis runs for it. They don't get a first down, and people bitch about it. But I didn't hear anything about them bitching about the 3rd and 4 because everybody, or 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 run, because realistically, 95% of people are results first process. 90%, I don't know, 90, whatever it is. People definitely lean more towards results instead of being like, oh, they got the first down, but I hate the call. It's people are always going to be results heavy. So it's definitely being a little bit over discussed. With that being said, I wouldn't have gone for it, right? But I'm not going to kill him. I'm like, oh my God, what an idiot. I like 55-45 on that, Question: are you feeling good about Membu's rookie year so far? Yeah. Not the strongest game from Membu in this one, I would say overall. Like, there was definitely 2 or 3 plays where he was a little bit iffy, specifically in the second half. But overall, yeah, like, I forget if his pressure numbers or whatever it was. He was like a top 8 tackle in the league, and not top 8 right tackles, top 8 tackles, left tackle, right tackle. So there's 64 starters. He was like number 8 in terms of whatever, like, pressure percentage, I think it was, pressure per snap or whatever bullshit. And with that being considered, also consider that you have Justin Fields, who for most of the starts is holding onto the ball longer than any quarterback in the NFL. So those numbers with a decent quarterback are much better. With better receivers, even better because they get open quicker. So yeah, he's playing very, very well. Is he perfect? No. There's no doubt he's not perfect, but he's been playing very, very good. Jesse, hoping Mechie stays next season. I think he will. I think the Jets will try to re-sign him. He is a restricted free agent, so they could tender him, right? They could tender him. I think that's like $5 or $6 million, maybe. I forget exactly what the numbers are. Or they could do what I believe is the right of first refusal. I think that's what it's called, where basically they could sign him to a deal, whatever the deal is, $3, $4, $4.5, $5 million, whatever it is. And if another team goes out there and offers him $7 million, the Jets then can match and get him back. So I think they'll bring him back. He's a restricted free agent, so that does help. I'm not the best with contract shit, so that might have been a little bit off with what I was saying there, but I'm somewhere in the ballpark. I would bring him back. I think he could be a 4. If he's your 3, not the worst case scenario, but I like to see him as a 4. Yoshi, what's up, dude? One of my gripes with Tanner this past game is that it feels like he's calling plays as if Justin was still playing. I'm still bullish on him as an OC. Bullish like good or bullish bad? I guess bullish is usually good, right? I think he's been like a B-level coordinator. Again, everybody's talking about Mechie, but nobody's talking about Tanner Engstrand, completely scheming those up. Short yardage situations got to improve, but overall, yeah, he's pretty solid. The 4th and 2 call, I don't love it. The first read there was a slant flat, and A.D. Mitchell actually cooks the corner, but because he read it really quickly, he's expecting pressure. What he sees is a slant route versus an inside leverage DB, so he comes off of it. A.D. Mitchell cooked the corner, though. He used like a hop step release, and he cooks him. I'll just show it to you, right? But so if he hangs on to that read a little bit longer, you're talking about a first down, but doesn't hang on to it. I understand it. Where did this happen at? Oh my God. Why am I not able to find this right now? Tyrod to 80 scramble. That's not it. Penalty. Okay, here it is. Play 27 of my review. Let me just kick off your comment real quick. Oh, why is it showing? I hate StreamYard that it's like so delayed. I can't see the play playing right now. So if you guys can, awesome. I can't. Hold on. Why is that happening? My bad, people. Just give me a second. StreamYard blows, dude. It is such a bad, like, shame on me for being I'm not with technical stuff. I'm an idiot. So shame on me for not finding something better like iOS or whatever it is, but it's just terrible. So I'm going to share it differently. Just watch to the top. This is all I'm talking about. This is the front side read to the top right here. Watch AD Mitchell here. This is what people like not talking about because you don't really see this a lot off of film. Cooks the corner, dude. Completely spins him around. And it comes off of it again because he sees what? Slant inside leverage DB. It's going to be hard to win like that. Mitchell does it though. He absolutely cooks the DB there and is open for a first down. He comes off of it, tries to force the ball to Mitchell. He's not. He's in a read, slant flat, inside to outside. Inside's clearly blocked up. Tries to force it to Mitch to Mechie. Doesn't work out, but Mitchell cooks him right there. So it's another situation like, hey, everybody, I hate the call. I hate the call. I hate the call. If you hung on to that, hit AD Mitchell on a slant, everybody's like, oh my God, great call. So just be careful. Where are we at now? Okay, boom, we're back. The Panthers game is where JC Horn picked him off. Okay, yeah, Panthers game. You're right. Missed 2 touchdowns, like back to back in that game. How would you feel about having Gardner Minshew as a bridge? I'd have to have like a list of potential bridges presented to me. Do I think it's the worst case scenario? No. I think he's a decent enough quarterback, so lukewarm on it, but fine. I think Tyrod may retire after the season. Realistically, I don't think they're going to bring Fields back. It's going to hurt. You're going to be paying like $57 million or whatever it is in dead money for a quarterback between Fields and Rodgers in 2026, which hurts, but I don't think they can bring Fields back at this point. Especially when you have Justin Fields fan club on Twitter saying that you're requesting his release because he has connections with Justin Fields, obviously bullshitting there. But fine. Because really, what are the options? Him, Cousins, who else? Please God, don't trade a first for or a pick for Mac Jones. I thought Buffalo Jets fan put it well on Twitter. He's like a bag of milk or whatever. It's just like he's in the best system ever. Him and it's McVay, it's Shanahan. Like those are the offensive geniuses of today's NFL. Mac Jones would come here and suck. I'm not trading a 4th round pick for Mac Jones. We're crazy. Please God, not Mac Jones. And he's a piece of shit on top of it. Remember trying to kick sauce in the balls and all this stuff and sliding late and kicking dudes, and he's a piece of shit. So I would have a problem rooting for Mac Jones because I think he's an asshole. So, taking dick shots is embarrassing. Which, by the way, was that Morig on the Panthers yesterday who punched Jennings in the balls, and then Jennings went up to him after the game and like grabbed him or whatever. Which, by the way, if you watch the Devils game, who'd they play last night? I'm blanking out now. Red Wings. After the game, there's brawls. It was awesome. The Devils are not a physical team, so it's nice to see them get physical. They won, thank God. They had the Ravens on the ropes for a while there. It was a good game. Yeah, I don't mind losing to the Ravens in a competitive game. Like, I'm not mad about that game. I don't think you can be. There's some mistakes, talk about the 4th down, talk about some penalties, some missed throws, whatever it is, fine. Overall, they didn't embarrass themselves. The beginning of the season was so frustrating. The Bills, the Cowboys, all that stuff, because they were embarrassing. That was not embarrassing. They lost. They lost to a better team. The spread was 14, right? They lost by 13 or 13 and a half. They lost by 13, whatever it was. So hobbled Lamar Jackson. There were some plays where he would have taken off, and he definitely didn't. So you have to note that as well, though. You're playing against a 70% healthy Lamar Jackson. Neil from Cali would hope they prioritize offense in free agency and draft. Yeah. If they do so with limited resources, what defensive positions should they prioritize to improve the overall defense? So defensive line is a spot where, assuming everybody's back next year, that's here, right? So you have JJ McDonald as your starters. I think they could use like a base D end and kind of use McDonald in a hybrid type of role going forward. But like those are passable. Briggs and Phillips at this point, they're passable defensive tackles. I don't think they're anything to write home about, but as starters, especially with the way that Briggs is playing this season, it's a passable group. It's not a position that's like a dire need. I think if I were the Jets, I'd bring Cowart back as your backup 3 tech and then sign a backup nose tackle. Obviously, if a guy presents himself in free agency for a great deal, or there's a stud in the second or third round that you feel like can really help the defense, fine. But overall, right now, would I try to attack defensive tackle? No, because of what they have there with Briggs and Phillips. The end's kind of similar type of situation. It's linebacker or safety for me. It depends on what they do with Quincy. Did they resign him? Did they not? I don't think they do. But I would probably say safety. Yeah, I would say safety. Because their linebackers aren't great right now in the run game, but they're still pretty good. They're pretty solid with the run defense. I think more of the problem with the defense is from the safeties. Run defense is involved with the safeties as well, but in coverage they suck. So obviously Cisco was a massive bust at the signing, so you're getting rid of him. Malachi Moore has improved over recent weeks, but still I'm not signing a dotted line right now on Tuesday, November 25th for Malachi Moore to be your starter in 2026. So I think you probably need 2 safeties, a linebacker, and then like a depth D tackle, a depth D end type deal. We could argue about it. Maybe they bring in a starter, but I don't think there's those. I think safety, linebacker are critical needs. I think secondarily, D tackle, D end are secondary needs. If I'm making it till 4 though, I'm gonna have to jump off and piss at some certain point. I'm starting to dance already. So just letting you guys know. Prep for me running up. I'll put up a JetX ad, but I'm dancing right now, so it's hard to think. Yoshi, on that play that you just mentioned, do you think Tony Adams could have picked the ball off? I feel like he had a chance to get a pick on that play. What play are you mentioning? Oh, the tip. He was there late. I would like to see him match Mark Andrews quicker than he did. So if he matched it quicker, he could have gotten a pick based on how, was he there in time, how he played it to get a pick? No. Do I think he should have been there earlier for potentially a pick? Yes. He could have been. He just wasn't there quick enough. Neil from Cali, recommend the $3 a month film review is a great deal. I love the JetX film review. Lots to learn and great insights to help enjoy the game more. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's not for everybody. It's obviously my world with the film, so I can't imagine just talking so strong without actually watching it. But everybody's hyping up Mechie. Nobody's mentioning that. Nobody is mentioning that he's all Tanner Angstrom. Nobody, not one person that I've seen on Twitter or anything. So yeah, instead of listening to a podcast, throw the film review on the background and even just hear me talk about it, or oh, this play is, I like what I want to watch this play. You don't have to freaking focus on it the whole time, but it's an hour. I go through the plays in a minute or two, so it's not, I'm the quicker film review guy, and you have Sabo who does a 13-minute breakdown on one play. If I did a 13-minute breakdown on 50 plays, I would literally be here for a day. So I don't do that. But yeah, man, I appreciate that, Neil. Know what's going on. Be informed. It's weird to me that people don't want to be, but it's a niche. I get it. But thank you, Neil. K. Delgado, remember people were like Membu is a road grader, but not as good in pass protection, was just an obvious lie. Yeah, I said that from the jump, Delgado. Or I know you've been in here. Go back and watch the review of him in college. He was so much further along as a pass protector than a run blocker. And I said it from the jump too. When I watched him, he was a better pass protector than Olu was in college. But everybody was saying that he's a road grader and needs help in the pass game. And because we're kind of hitting on a lot of surface level stuff and results first process and all this stuff, the reason for that was because a bunch of people put up a 4 or 5 play highlight reel of him against Oklahoma where he was burying guys in the run game. And then everybody just associated, okay, I saw 5 plays out of the 700 reps he took last year. And those 5 plays, he was burying guys. So now he's a good run. He's good in the run game and not good in pass. That's the crux of it. That's what it was. It was literally because of the Oklahoma game that people said that about him. And it just shows you how surface level most evaluations are of these guys. A lot of analytical shit, watching highlights, watching 1 or 2 games of guys, and then these people put their opinions out there and draft scouting reports, and they probably only watched the Oklahoma game. Like, oh my God, so great in the run game. The rest of the 10 games, he was not as great and much farther along in pass pro. So that was 1,000%. And I said it last year. If that was your opinion of Membu, I knew what to think of you as an evaluator. You're not good. Just you're not good an evaluator. Or you didn't watch. Either you're not good at watching what saying you're watching, or you didn't watch. There's no in between, because if you watched Membu in college, especially last year, because I can't speak about the other years, if you watched him last year in college, you would never say he was better in the run game than the pass game. Straight up lie. Straight up lie. Hit the like. Yes, do that. Delgado, are the quarterbacks missing Mason Taylor, or is his stat line a good reputation of his performance? He extrapolates to 50 plus catches and just under 500 yards. Yeah, he's not a focal point of the offense. A lot of his routes are hitches, drags, curls, check down type option, chip and release. So he's not like a primary focal point of the offense. With that being said, is there times he's undoubtedly missed because of the quarterback play? Yes. So I think with, let's say, a halfway decent quarterback, up that 50 and 500 to 60 and 600, and then make him a primary option of the offense, and that's 70 and 700. Not 700. So I think he's playing better than his stats may indicate. One thing about Mason Taylor, though, is his blocking has been so much more impressive than I thought it would be at college, coming out of the NFL. In college, he was a okay pass protector and a bad run blocker. This year, he's been solid in both, which is huge for a rookie tight end. Huge. And like half of his catches are contested. I'm not even just, that's not even a joke. Like, he's caught 30 balls, 24 of those have been contested, and he's brought in almost all of them. I think he had one drop in this game where it squirted through his hands, but he's been very, very good. Very good. And I get stat humpers, all that stuff. And, he has more to prove, especially if he's going to be a primary target. He's been more of a secondary, target with the Jets offense. But so there's plenty of room for him to, excuse my French, but like fuck up and not earn that role. But so far through 10, 11 games, I don't think you could be really, really more impressed with Mason Taylor. Like A+ so far. A+. Not just the stats. He's getting open. He's blocking really well. I'm very, very impressed. Ricardo, how about trading for Winston as a bridge? How do you not love Winston? Like, he's just such a funny dude. I love Winston. It's hard not to root for that guy. The problem is, why would the Giants do that? Considering, like, they're not going to bring back Russell Wilson. You have Dart, who's a rookie quarterback. He's under contract. Why would they trade him? And with that being said, what are you trading for him? If you're trading like a late round pick for Winston, what's Jameis Winston contract? Let's see. What is he making? 2-year, $8 million deal? Yeah, sure. He's owed $4 million in 2020. Sorry. He's owed $5 million, at least as per Spot Track, in 2026. I don't know if there's like any, like, there's a signing bonus in there, so it might only be actually $4 or $5 million for Jameis Winston as a bridge. Yeah, no doubt. If they're willing to part for him for, a late round pick, then yeah, I'm down. I just don't think the Giants do it. That play, though, obviously we all saw the play, right? We caught the ball and all that. It was awesome. Okay, this is the point where I'm dancing. I can't even think anymore. So let me just play something. Membership ad. It's only 20 seconds. Shit. I'm sorry, guys. Not the best podcasting, but I either end the stream or I go piss. So let me just play this.
Become a JetX member today for the very best in New York Jets all 22 film content, analytics, credentialed access, and much more. Plus, check out our all-new JetX YouTube membership option that features the very best in film breakdowns, live streaming priority, and a chance to meet Wayne Corbett in the Underdog Jets podcast next meet and greet. Links are available below in the video description.
We're back. Sorry. That was needed. My God, I can think again. Okay. Where was I at? How do you feel about AZ Thomas and Brandon Stevens as our outside corners for next year? Solid enough as starters. Do the Jets? I love all the questions. I love how we come here and just ask football questions. It's awesome. Do the Jets corner play more man or zone since Sausage traded? They still play more man. I don't chart stuff, so like, and I don't have PFN or like a subscription to ESPN stats and info or PFF, so it's easy for those people to just like look it up. Off the top of my head, I think they're still playing more man. I will give Wilkes credit a little bit in this game. He did run more zone on third down, which helped them out. So credit to him. But they still play more man. They do more man. But past that, I'm okay with them starting next year. Are they proof? It's almost like the Mason Taylor situation, Mechie, AD Mitchell. They both have potential. Stevens, since the first 2 or 3 weeks, has really, really improved. This week was not the strongest week for Stevens. He didn't have a great game, in my opinion. But he's okay enough as a 2. And for a lot of this year, he's actually been a very solid 2. AZ Thomas had a bad game in this game as well. Regardless of the stats, I don't give a shit about the stats. He got beat for what should be a touchdown to Hopkins. He bit really hard on a double move, and Lamar Jackson just straight up missed Hopkins. And then he whiffed on a tackle really badly to Zay Flowers. He whiffed really bad. It was an awful tackle attempt, and he allowed like 15, 20 yards because of it. But overall, he played really, really well in the Bengals game, and overall, he's impressive, or he's been impressive. So I'm okay with it. Now, if you're saying, hey, the Jets are a Super Bowl team next year, or Super Bowl contenders, would I be okay with them too? No, but being realistic about where the Jets are, you can ride it out with those guys. Like your corners next year, you're 1, 2, and 3 are already on the roster, in my opinion. With AZ, let's hear my kid open the door. Say dad, sorry. Okay, I just gotta make sure somebody is there to grab him, because a 22-month-old walking down the stairs, not ideal, especially hard stairs. But so that completely distracted me. With where the Jets are, I'm okay with that, if that makes sense. I don't know if I just wrapped that up. That just parent brain went in there. I just thought in my head to go grab my kid. Bob, you do a great job with the film breakdowns. I appreciate that, Bob. Thanks, man. Aiden O'Connell season. Mac Jones, bag of milk, dude. Buffalo Jet fan put it perfectly. Please, God, no. Let's not do that. The refs made some atrocious calls. It seemed like corruption. Dude, yeah, it was bad. And it is what it is. I'm not going to everybody says I'm not one of those guys. I really feel like I'm not one of those guys to just blame the refs. The one play to Isaiah Oliver, Jermaine Johnson almost gets his jersey ripped off the back of him. I did that in the review. His jersey getting pulled badly. No hold called there, even though, again, clear jersey pull. You have a play where Sherwood blew up a play. There's a guard hanging on. I think Falele was hanging on his back. No call there. The play with AZ Thomas, the illegal contact or holding or whatever it was. And I showed it on Twitter, so go on my Twitter or watch the breakdown. DeAndre Hopkins, so AZ Thomas presses him, gets both hands into the shoulders. DeAndre Hopkins grabs his face mask and rips him down to the ground. And then because he's getting ripped down to the ground, he's off balance and he grabs the jersey because his face mask got grabbed. So you don't call the face mask on Hopkins, you call the illegal contact, which was caused because of a face mask on Hopkins. It was clear as day. It wasn't hidden. He ripped the face mask down to the ground, or, almost down to the ground. So terrible call there. The Breece Hall play out of bounds. He gets tackled out of bounds 3-4 yards. They pick up the flag and say, oh, it's holding on Simpson. Did Simpson deserve the holding? Yes, he did. But Breece Hall got thrown out of bounds. And also on that play, I forget if it was Mason Taylor or if it was Ruckert, but they go to kick out Hamilton. They kick out Hamilton. Hamilton grabs a face mask for a good 2-3 seconds. No call there. So yeah, it's really frustrating, man. It really, really is. Jermaine Johnson getting held. Sherwood, that was more nondescript, but okay, that one's not called. But the fact that the Breece Hall penalty was picked up and you had a penalty on Hamilton on that play, but the only flag that was thrown and stood was the penalty on Simpson. Mm-hmm. Jets should sign Leo Chanel and try to trade Jamie and Sherwood, sign Quincy. So my problem with that is you're going to eat some money for Sherwood, right? Like, I think if you trade him, even like post June 1st, talking like a $10 million hit in this year, I believe. I'm not sure what the contract is, but one, you're taking a relatively large hit from Sherwood, trading him. You're then signing Quincy and you're signing Chanel. So you're talking about $30+ million dedicated to linebacker regardless. Like, I'd almost rather just sign Quincy and not trade Sherwood, even though Leo is a better player than Sherwood. But you're talking about too much dedicated towards the linebacker position with a team who needs offensive players and safeties and all this stuff. It's too much at the linebacker spot. You know, if you're telling me, hey, to sign Leo Chanel with Jamian, like, yeah, fine. But even at that point, like, are you spending too much on linebacker? Like, is Leo going to cost what Quincy would cost? I know Leo is younger, but I don't think they go that deep into linebacker. I think they probably let Quincy walk, even though, you know, not even hindsight, you know, I would have rather signed Quincy to a 2 or 3 year deal over Jamian. He's a better player. But I don't think you sign Leo Chanel. And you trade Jamian, and then on top of trading Jamian Sherwood, you're also, I think it's like a $15 million cap hit either this year or next year for him. Not only are you eating money, but you're getting a low pick for him because the team is not going to be signing dotted line for, I believe at that point, like a 2-year, $30 million deal for a linebacker who's been struggling. So what are you getting? A 6th round pick, a 7th round pick to eat $10 million to then only redirect and signed Leo Chanel and Quincy for $30 million a year, which is about $40 million cap hit. With getting rid of Fields, and we're talking about almost $100 million in dead money between Fields, Rodgers, and Jamian Sherwood, plus whatever else they have on the books. No. Rashawn Gary might come available. He can do the hybrid edge interior guy role, having a down year, but still young. Yeah, but like, he's still going to cost a good amount of money, I think. And he might like interior rush guy role, like you know, not JFM, but I get what you're saying there. I don't think they need to sign a guy of that ilk. I'm not sure if he's even I want to look through some stats, but I think he's still like a very solid player. He's going to demand what, $15-20 million a year. I don't think that happens either. Really don't want to win in any of these remaining games. Let's just evaluate the players from Billy, and maybe even see Brady Cook in the last game. Yeah, I'm with you. Evaluate the young guys, lose competitively. And Brady Cook should be the backup ASAP. Fields shouldn't see another snap. Meatball Parm, would you be okay waiting until 2027 to draft a quarterback? I'm not giving up crazy capital to move up in this draft just to draft someone. So this is loaded. This is a very loaded question. Am I okay waiting? Not really. Am I forcing a quarterback this year? No. Like, I think that kind of sums it up. I think you have to draft a quarterback this year in the 1st or 2nd round. You know, again, I'm not forcing it, but like, I would really, really like to, because then you're just kicking the can down the road. Again, what happened to all the top quarterbacks in this draft? I've been killing this point. There could be one quarterback again next year. Like, obviously, if Simpson continues to struggle, he goes back to school, Moore goes back to school, and then you're talking about Fernando Mendoza, and then the rest of the guys are 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks, then maybe you don't have the opportunity to grab a quarterback this year. But if you like a guy, I'm okay trading up if they really like Simpson, if they really like Mendoza, just because there's a lot of it's not volatility. There's a lot of variables with 2027. You know, again, look at the class this year. Look at all the guys who are supposed to be the top are now 5th round picks. You know, so what happens if you pick 16th next year because they continue to build, they spend all this money, and there's no quarterbacks available to trade up for because the teams who pick at the top are teams who are quarterback needy, or there's no quarterbacks available. So I don't love waiting. I definitely don't. With that being said, am I forcing a pick to force a pick? No. Right? Like, is that a fine way to wrap it up? Christian, have you seen signs of Aaron Glenn learning from his mistakes and becoming a better head coach as the season has progressed? It's been a little bit better, right? Like, there's been less missed tackles. There's been less penalties. The Jets have been pretty good with penalties. I like the aggression in certain spots. He's improved. He's improved. Have I seen anything where I'm like, holy shit, he's great? No, being realistic, you know? So yeah, he's not Adam Gase level bad the last 4 or 5 games, but am I writing home about him yet. No. But yeah, better. I think he's been better with like aggression and stuff like that. NFL officiating sucks ass. Yes, it does. At least the Jets can't ruin Thanksgiving. My dad hates me, Sigh. Is that Kanye West in the picture? You just look like Kanye West, very much so. I don't know. Bring back Flacco. Yeah, no, I'm not with that. I don't think Flacco. Maybe he would, but no, I'm good. Did you see that pick he had the other day? Who they play? The Colts played not the Colts. Who's he even play for now? Wow, I just blanked out. Browns? Where's he playing right now? It's not the Browns because they had Shadur. Shit, who is Flacco playing for? Whoever he's playing for, he had a terrible pick in the flat. It was such an awful throw. Hesitation, corner was there all day, threw the ball, pick six. Yeah, Bengals. I even see the chat, so I'm at 3:12 still. I'm 12 minutes behind, but Bengals. Awful pick. Winston would make us fun at least. Yeah, I think he's better than Tyrod. I think he's better than Fields. Smoke champ. I wouldn't want my rookie quarterback learning from a damn thing from Winston. Realistically, do you want him learning from any of the backup quarterbacks? Do you want him learning from Minshew? Do I want him learning from? I guess there's better. Like I rather him learn from Tyrod than Winston, while acknowledging that Winston's better than Tyrod. But he's more like the coaching does more of that than the backup quarterback. Definitely not Fields though. We definitely don't want him learning from Fields. I would take Tyrod over Winston in terms of as a mentor for the rookie, but as a bridge, Winston's better. Right? Is that fair to say? But Minshew, no. Would you hate Mariota as a bridge? Kind of. But with that being said, I know he's improved recently. He's on the Commanders now, right? Like I haven't watched him, right? So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, yes or no. Just being realistic, I don't have enough information to say that. Would I want to maybe have a little bit better of a bridge than Mariota? Yeah. Giants won't give up Winston. He'll back up Dart. They're a ticking time bomb waiting to drop Russ. Yeah, Russ is gone. I don't think they're going to get Winston. Or he'll be available. Obviously, they, hey, second round pick for Winston will do it. But being realistic, 5th, 6th, 7th round pick, I don't think they'll do it. I don't get it. We have a bridge in Tyrod. Why would we be looking for one? It's because he's not under contract next year. So you could bring him back. The problem is with Tyrod is he's often injured. So you want a bridge who's a little bit younger, maybe a little bit more upside, upside, but who's a little bit better with less injury risk. I think that's the reason for it. AZ Thomas PFF score was pretty bad, which seemed fair to me. Yeah, he was not good in this game. That's fine. It's fine. He wasn't good. It's his 3rd or 4th game. How is this game compared to the Dolphins game official wise? I know the Dolphins game was bad, but I'd forget specifically why or what happened in that game. Dolphins. Okay, so the Dolphins game, that was the one play where Ruckert got dove on 2 seconds after the snap, and then got the penalty there. That was the Brees Hall out of bounds as well. This one was more egregious than that one. And there's another one with the Dolphins game that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. There's another one that I'm forgetting. Just as bad, if not worse. That face mask on Hopkins or by Hopkins and then calling AD Thomas was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Picking up Brees, the Brees penalty was ridiculous. And missing the face mask on that play as well, also ridiculous. Just as bad. I can't remember specifically what the other play was with the Dolphins that I had issue with. But I believe there was 3 or 4 in that game. This game was like 2 or 3. But the face mask was egregious. I cannot believe that was missed. Also, on the 4th down late in the game, when we didn't convert, they called the hold on Membu, then picked it up. But if we got the first, we all know they don't pick it up. Or did they just decline it? I don't know. Yeah, Membu got called for a bullshit hold against the Panthers maybe as well. Maybe it's the Panthers game, but the DN tries to spin into him, and all Membu does is kind of back up off of him, grab the hip, and throw him to the ground where he's already going. He didn't grab him at all. Or he didn't hold him. He grabbed him. He didn't hold him. So he's been getting called for that, and that one was kind of bullshit too. I believe he's just pushing the hip up the arc. I don't know. Giants could get out of the Winston contract after the season, but they eat 2.3 million dead cap, which is nothing. Why do that? From our perspective, Tyrod knows the system, knows the staff. it's a health thing. Winston has higher upside, but I don't think the Giants are getting rid of him anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anzalone has been named a lot. Yeah, that's the type of name I'm talking about. Like, I don't think you need to go re-sign Quincy. I don't think you need to go and sign Leo Chanel, obviously assuming that it's not a bargain. Anzalone, is it Anzalone or Anzalone? I think it's Anzalone is how it's actually pronounced, but talking about what I think he's 30, 31, 32, something like that. So you're talking about a veteran linebacker, knows Aaron Glenn, knows the system, apparently a good leader. Bring him in for a relatively cheap price, not cheap, but a decent price, and have him next to Sherwood. Like, it's not a thing where you need to overspend a linebacker. I'd rather sign Anzalone than Leo Chanel because of the price, assuming a lot, right? Like, I haven't watched Leo. I don't know how he's been playing recently. He could be just as inexpensive and younger. Like, I don't know. I'm making kind of generalizations there, but assuming I'm right, I would rather not spend a lot on linebacker when you need interior offensive linemen, you need receivers, you need, a lot. I'm not anti-Tyrod. I just don't know. This is from Delgado again. If you want to give him a new contract, dude's looking a bit washed. Yeah, he hasn't been good. He really hasn't. This game was not good for him. The Bucs game was pretty awful from him as well. So I have not been impressed by Tyrod, while acknowledging he's better than Fields, which is not a high bar to pass. What happened to Cam Jones? Cam Jones. Am I just blanking out right now? Who are we talking about? Cam Jones. The guy did they trade for him, the Chiefs, or was he just like a waiver wire pickup? He's just a special teamer, really, with the Chiefs, but I haven't seen him play at all. Did he get injured? I don't know. Let's see. Cam Jones. I don't know if he got injured or something. He was just a special teamer, so he might have even played some games and we haven't even noticed them, to be honest. I don't know. That's a pull. I don't know what happened with Cam Jones, being realistic. Maybe an injury. K. Delgado, Sherwood trade creates $10 million cap it. Okay, that's what I thought it was. But frees up $1 million in cap space. It might worth it if they can get anything of value, 5th rounder. Like, for a 5th round pick, do we want to pay Sherwood $10 million to be off the roster, then only to have to replace him with another linebacker who's going to cost you $5-10 million? I don't think it's worth it. I think you just have Sherwood with like an Anzalone, like somebody else said before. Really love Drew Lar, or unfortunately uninjured. Yeah, I would say I'm not as impressed maybe as you are when I watch Drew Lar. It gets injured. What happens if that happens to all the quarterbacks next year too? Again, there's tweets out there of guys saying that 2026 is absolutely stacked, and none of those guys are at the top anymore. There's so much volatility that 2027 is a great class is the dumbest way to think ever. Like, if you're saying, oh well, I like the quarterback this year, but next year's class is better, so I'll wait. That you could not be more stupid with your thinking, in my opinion. At least that's an awful way to think. If you don't like the quarterbacks this year, you don't force it, and you hope that next year is better or is good, or you can get a quarterback. You do not rely on next year being good. So I'm going to pass on a quarterback in 2026. It's stupid. Very, very stupid. I think the only way Fields is back is if you don't want your rookie quarterback playing right away, and just in case your bridge, you bring in. The problem is Fields' contract, right? Like, you're going to eat like $20 million or whatever it is to get rid of him, which sucks. But do you want your rookie learning from Fields, man? He's really, really bad. Like, being realistic, if Fields didn't have that level of athleticism in terms of scrambling, there's no way he's a backup level quarterback. He's a third string, if not in the NFL. I'm not trying to be harsh. It's just realistic. You take away his legs, he's not a backup. Third string at the very. No, he's out of the NFL. He's not rostered. He doesn't have his legs. There's nothing he does in the passing game that's good. He's a good arm. He can throw a nice deep ball. That's it. He's not on a roster if he doesn't have his legs. He's worse than Zach Wilson with taking the legs out of it. Okay, let's see. Thoughts on our Jets drafting quarterback like Jaden Maeva, whatever it is, his strengths and abilities, skill up in it. I know he's a USC quarterback. I haven't watched him enough to be like, yeah, he's good or he's bad. I know he's kind of floating around. I've seen him anywhere from late 1st to early 4th in some of these like mock drafts and stuff. So a lot of it depends on the rest of the season. If you're talking about let's categorize him as a late first, early second. Like he's almost like the Jackson Dart level type prospect. If the Jets don't get Mendoza, they don't get Simpson, they don't get Moore because of whatever reason, and they want to take Maeva or whatever with the late for, again, assuming that he is that player, I could watch him, that he's not even worth drafting at all with that disclaimer in there. But assuming he's like the Jackson Dart level of prospect, yeah, would I draft him in late first or early second? Yeah, I would, but I don't know because I haven't watched him. I've seen him. I have not watched him. I can tell you USC just played they just played I think a ranked team last week. I watched a little bit of Maeva. USC. Didn't he just play? Was it Oregon? Was it Oregon USC? I think it was. I think that's the game. I watched a little bit of it, busy and stuff. So I was watching like in the background a little bit. I could tell you in that game I was not impressed with Maeva, whatever the hell the name is. But assuming again, then yes. Lar bad. Jaden Maeva, 6'4" mobile gunslinger. Again, I can't tell you. Beloved Peace, what's up, dude? Hey, Joe in chat. If we draft a quarterback in 2026 and he's terrible, would you be open to drafting a quarterback? Yes, but it kind of depends to me. There's a lot of context that needs to be added to that. Where do they draft this quarterback? How bad is he? Who is the quarterback next year? Like it all kind of matters. Like if you draft him, he's god awful, and there's some Joe Burrow level of prospect at 1, and you pick at 1, then yeah, you do it. If he's just okay, the quarterback's just okay, and you're picking like 15th, and he has potential for the future still, you're not sure. Am I trading up a bunch of firsts to get up to 1 or 2 or 3 for a quarterback? No, like there's some context needed. But being very generic, am I willing to, dependent on the right circumstance? Yes. Like I'm not going to draft it. Let's say the situation we're talking about before, Maeva is drafted end of the first, early second, and he just sucks ass, and he's not going to be good, or you have a very good feeling he's not going to be good. Am I just going to make, we drafted him, last year, and we know he sucks, but we can't draft 2 quarterbacks in a row? No, that's bullshit. Yeah, there's context to be added, but in general, yes, I'm okay with doing that. Like Josh Rosen was one of the worst quarterbacks you'll ever see, and they had the number 1 pick, and Murray was the number 1 prospect that year. So in that situation, they did it. But if they were pick 15, do they trade up to 1 for Murray? No, they don't. Would you be upset if the Jets grabbed John Mateer in the 2nd or 3rd round, but loaded up on offense, defense in the 1st if Mendoza is available? Same thing with Maeva. I don't really know about Mateer, Oklahoma quarterback, injured, I believe. I think he's like, at least a few weeks ago, he was kind of like the 4th or 5th quarterback. It feels like you have Moore, Simpson, and Mendoza, and then Mateer and like Maeva are like the 4 and 5, at least based on what I'm seeing right now. So similar thing. It's just take what I said about Maeva. But if he's like a 3rd round prospect, I'd rather maybe grab a guy earlier than that. But would I be mad at that if that's the case? No. If Mendoza isn't available, Simpson, Moore, not just if Mendoza, like it's not Mendoza or bust for me. Not Mendoza or bust. Simpson's got to play better though. I got to watch the game. But throwing 2 picks is not ideal against a bad team. But overall, again, don't just base your entire eval of Simpson on the last 2 games because the first 8, 9, whatever games were good. Okay. Yeah, but I changed my name here. It used to be Bus. Okay, yeah. I know Bus. The problem is with all the names too, Bus. My dad hates me. It shows the @ and not the name. It's like, so my name on YouTube for whatever reason is like Joe Blewett 4771 or some shit like that instead of just Joe Blewett. So I see everybody's @ now instead of just the their name. Like, why change it to the @? Show me what they want to be called. I don't know. Stupid. Bengals played the Pats and just telegraphed the late pass to Marcus Jones. You're talking about Flacco? Yeah. I don't know if it was Marcus Jones or whatever, but he did that. That was an awful pass to the flat. I would, I guess, want our New York Jets to get a safety like Cameron Curl, Kyler Duggar, Geno Stone, et cetera, or someone else. Yeah, they need a safety, if not 2. So I can see them addressing that in free agency. They have $100-ish million plus in free agency. Can you address safety for $7, $8, $9, $10 million? Yeah, like I wouldn't have a problem with it. The premium capital, big contracts, $20 million contracts, first, second round picks. I want offense, offensive line, receiver, that stuff, tight end too. well, you're not paying a tight end to $20 million or drafting one in the first round, but you know what I'm saying? Premium assets, premium draft picks, premium capital go towards offense. Am I okay with, getting a starting safety? You kind of have to at this point. Because even if Malachi Moore is your starter, which is a huge question mark if he is going into the starter as a starter next year, who is your free safety? You have nobody. Tony Adams is gone. Tony Adams is gone, and obviously Cisco's gone as well. Don't let Justin Fields fan club hear you say, dude, I don't trust me. I've already interacted with that dude on Twitter. I don't think I've ever tweeted him prior to last week, but he commented on something. He got ratioed really badly. But I tweeted something out about Justin Fields, and he's like, "Oh, you're an idiot," or something like that. And I tweeted out I think I said, which actually blew up. I got a couple thousand likes, which I didn't expect. But I think I tweeted something like, "I can't wait to never see Justin Fields play football again." And he tweeted out something, "Oh, you're an idiot. Justin Fields is great." And I said, "Oh, sorry. I also meant to mention that I can't wait to never see your account as well." And I got he got ratioed bad on that one. But that kid's an idiot. Kid, dude, it's probably based on the way he tweets. He's either a 13-year-old kid or he's a 55-year-old loser living in his mom's house. You're joking. Who is a fan of Fields? Go on Twitter and just look up. I think it's Justin Fields FC. I think it's his name. Dudes, I have no idea. It's 7,000 idiots following him. Use one of our second-round picks on a linebacker. Sure, it can happen. If you're telling me, hey, the Jets drafted a quarterback, a receiver with their first-round pick, a center with their first second-round pick, and then at that point, you basically need receiver. I think the primary needs on offense are obviously quarterback, receiver. Let's say at least one interior offensive lineman, kind of depending on what to do in free agency. It could be two, it could be one, it could be none. If those three are addressed, am I okay with using I'm not pigeonholing them. I'm saying, if they don't grab a center, they absolutely cannot draft a linebacker before a center. But in general, it's possible. Second round pick on a linebacker, yeah, I think that would be okay. But again, if they don't have a receiver at that point, a interior offensive lineman, a quarterback, I might be a little bit upset. But obviously, it's all dependent on the circumstance, who's available, etc. I remember when Breece Hall was drafted. I was a huge Nakobe Dean guy coming out of college. And I thought the Jets were going to draft him. They didn't. But if it's a Nakobe Dean level prospect in the second round as a linebacker, yeah, sure. But I think he's a free agent. I said Nakobe? Why am I forgetting his name now? Yeah, Nakobe Dean. I was like, is his name Nakobe? Nakobe Dean contract. When is he up? I'm not sure if he's playing super well, but I loved him in college. Nakobe Dean. But has he been playing well? I don't want to just be that guy looking up PFF stats of him. 16 tackles, 3 sacks. Okay, so he hasn't been great. Is it a size thing? He's not the biggest guy in the world. I thought that's the only thing that really hurt him in the NFL level. I don't know why he's not been playing well. Injured? I don't know. But maybe that's an option depending on the circumstances. I want your Jets to draft a linebacker, Arvell Reese, Tony Styles. Yeah, I can't comment. Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean. I know Lloyd's been playing pretty well at the Jags. I'm not sure about Nakobe Dean. Get a big linebacker. That's a good point. I really didn't think about that. One of the problems is you don't want to put a light linebacker next to a light linebacker. You need a guy who's a little bit more of a thumper. And that's why I think Maui Noah's been playing a little bit, because he's more of a thumper. You need that. So, Mr. Always Slow Joe. Mr. Always Slow Joe. Thank you. Great work. Thanks. I don't know what Mr. Always Slow. If anything, I get criticized for being too fast. I was going to say that's what she said, which I did. But people are like, you talk too fast. And I do. My brain goes 1,000 miles per hour, and sometimes my mouth can't keep up. But I talk fast. I try to get a lot of information out of you guys. If I talk slower, you're going to get a lot less information in the 2-hour span. Or opinions. Waiver bar. Yeah, I got you. I got it after a second. Garrett Nussmeier is another guy who stayed in college and fell off a cliff. I'll throw out the names again. Nussmeier was supposed to be a first-round pick this year. Klubnik was supposed to be a first-round pick this year. Arch Manning, people are talking about being a first-round pick this year. Drew Allar talked about it being a first-round pick this year. I think there's another one that I'm forgetting right now. All those guys are 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th undrafted guys right now. And this is the class that was absolutely loaded. There's no way. There's 5, 6 first-round quarterbacks. There might be one, especially if Moore and Simpson go back to college. There might be one. And it's none of the guys people were mentioning. None of them. People think Dante Moore from Oregon might stay another year, but if he comes out, he's a top 5 pick. No, I don't think it's smart for him to stay. If you're guaranteed to be, and you can't guarantee it, but as a quarterback, you almost can. If you're almost locked to be a top half of the first round draft pick, you have to go. Like, you have to. I get the NIL stuff and whatever else, but you're not making as much on NIL as you are on a contract from the NFL. With that being said, you're taking less money to go back to school. Then you're also risking injury. And if not injury, then you playing poorly. And what if he goes back and struggles and he's a 4th round pick? It's like, shit, I just missed out on a 4-year, $40 million contract for 7, 6, 5, whatever it is of NIL. It's very stupid to go back if you're a quarterback, I think. Look at Drew Allar. He's probably a 2nd round pick last year, maybe a late 1st, whatever it would have been. He may be undrafted this year. Maybe. And if not, you're, oh my God, undrafted again. I'm not the biggest college football guy. That's what I've heard. 5th, 6th, 7th round pick instead of a 2nd round pick, 1st round pick. Dumb. Kate Delgado, worse than Zach. He is. As a passer, he's worse than Zach Wilson. He's awful. I know some people will have their positive spins in the game, but till they win, this is where it's at. But I do like Mechie and AD fighting for the 3 and 2 spot next year. Yeah, it's, like, obviously you have to evaluate it and look at the quarterback position and say, yeah, they're not going to win a lot of games with Tyrod Taylor as a starting quarterback, but while also acknowledging that AD Mitchell was good and Mechie was schemed, but we'll call it good. And this guy played well and that guy played well. Like, it's not just black or white, bad or good. There's somewhere in the middle, and there's somewhere in the middle. I think that's fine. Some young guys played well who will be here next year. That's a positive step. Do I want to just win games and not have to hang on a hat on, hey, this guy played well who's young? Yeah, no doubt. But it's where we're at. Kyler, please, God, no Kyler Murray. Just no. Simpson wasn't good the first game against FSU. He wasn't good. He wasn't bad, though. Like, I go back and watch that game, and he was not bad. I remember hearing a lot about that. And I went back and I was like, okay, like, not great, but he wasn't dreadful. This last, I don't know about the last game because I haven't watched it yet. I don't know if it's out on the film, how I get my film. It probably is at this point. The prior game that he played against whoever that was, again, 1,000 things going through my brain. That was his worst game of the season by far. Worst game of the season by far. Like, if you want to go back and like be impressed, like go back and watch him versus Georgia. Even though Georgia had one bad play that should have been picked off, but like Georgia game, there's a bunch of games where he played really, really well. His good games are far and few between, depending on the opponent. I wouldn't say few and far between. Recently, yeah, the last 2 games he's not been good, and FSU were bad. Past that, I can't remember a game specifically where I was like, oh my God, he was shit. I said this last week, but like, for people saying, oh, he's shit versus bad school, go watch the first 2 games of Mendoza and tell me you were impressed and want him in the 1st round, or even touch him with a 2nd round pick. Those first 2 games against, ready for these schools, Old Dominion and Kennesaw State, Mendoza was not good. So he had bad games in the beginning and now having better games at the end. And Simpson's kind of the opposite. So let's not just judge a guy on a 1 or 2 game sample size, because there's plenty of games there where Mendoza struggled, and he's also playing lesser competition than Simpson. So let's just chill on Mendoza's undoubtedly the number 1 at this point. I get it. I can get people having Mendoza 1, Moore 1, any order of those 3, I understand. But I'm not going to say few and far between with Simpson. It's just recently. So don't be, and again, you can maybe think that, Jesse, but I'm just urging people to not be victims of, what's the phrasing for that? Victims of whatever. Recency bias. Don't have recency bias. That's what I'm looking for. I think 3 of the first 4 picks we have to have an offense at the minimum from David. But like, you can't say that though, right, David? Being realistic, like, okay, so let's just go with 3 of the first 4 picks. What happens if they bring, like, hypothetical here, I'm not saying I agree with any of these moves. They re-sign Simpson, they bring in Tyler Linderbaum, they draft quarterback, receiver with the first 2 picks. What are you reaching for? And they sign a tight end too. What's that 3rd pick on offense? If you address receiver, quarterback, interior offensive lineman, and tight end too, what are you going? I'll wait. It's like, you can't, I get what you're saying, but you can't pigeonhole the Jets into that. Because what if they address some of the needs in free agency? What if they sign, I don't know who is the free agents. What if they sign Linderbaum and a good receiver too? Resign Simpson, resign ABT, resign Myers. And okay, maybe you get a second, one of the first 4 picks as an interior offensive lineman, but what happens there? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of circumstances around Tyler Linderbaum at 4 years, 76. It depends on who's available in free agency. Like if the class sucks, can you splurge a little bit on center? Yeah, fine. But if there's a bunch of guys out there, is splurging on center the first thing I'm looking to do? No. Would I be terribly mad if they did something like this, depending on some other things? No. Ricardo, whatever came of Byron Carrot, this team needs. He got injured. He got out for a year in I don't know if it was preseason or camp or whatever else, but he got hurt. Maybe the first game or whatever it was, but he got hurt really early on. And I liked him. Coming from the Bears, right? It was Briggs. I always get confused. It was Briggs with the Browns, Cowart with the Bears, I believe. I like Cowart as a backup 3 tech. Guy who can actually play a little bit of nose tackle. He's small for the position. In terms of, I think he's only like 305, 300, and he's playing some nose tackle. Typically, nose tackles are 315, 320 plus. So I liked him. He's versatile. I think he's re-signed next year as a backup interior offensive lineman or defensive lineman. Sorry. Remember last week streaming, your beard looks, yeah. He's like, I don't like your beard. I'm like, I have stubble, dude. Like, I don't know how it's coming over, but I didn't shave for 3 or 4 days and it's stubble. What a weird comment, right? Does he want it to be fabulous? I think he likes the fabulous stuff coming on my beard. Very weird. I get it. Yeah. If I grow my beard out, I look like a child molester. I understand. It's not the strongest facial hair in the world. I was blessed from birth with a widow's peak. I was blessed from birth with a big ass head. I was blessed from birth with the last name Blewett. I can't overcome those things. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you don't like my beard. Biggest need: quarterback, receiver, linebacker, D-line, safety, cornerback, kicker, center. Yeah, you got to throw tight end 2 into there. Corner, I wouldn't say. I don't think they're gonna splurge on corner. Corner depth. If you say cornerback depth, I'd agree with you. Do I think it's a big need? Like, do I think primary needs? Do I think corner is a primary need? No. Is center? Yes, because they don't have one next year. There's no one under contract. So center, yes, primary need. Let's just label it interior because they might move Tippmann back. Interior offensive lineman, primary need, yes. Quarterback, no doubt. Receiver, yep. Linebacker, they don't have a starter. Yep. D-line, I would say more secondary as well. Is that fair? Couple thousand only, you deserve more. Oh, for the views. Yeah, man. Hey, again, I know I'm a little bit more niche, and the problem is just being realistic with like content creation. The more videos you put out, the better you do. I put out 1 or 2 videos a week because full-time job, kid, etc. And I don't have a lockdown day that I stream. Having a stream every Monday night at 8 or Tuesday night at 8 or Wednesday night at 8 helps build, everybody, okay, Blewett's on it Tuesday at 8, I'll be there. I'm all over the place, so people aren't here all the time. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Preseason for Cowart, yeah. Simpson was awful. Yeah, he was. Statistic-wise, he looked awful, but I have to watch it back again. Bad football teams he does well in. Again, go watch him come back versus Georgia. And that game, he threw like a 60-yard bomb to Ryan Williams and he dropped it, for a touchdown. So like, it's not just against bad teams that he's playing well. He's played well versus plenty of good teams. Let's see, off the top of my head. Vanderbilt played well, I believe. Georgia played well. Wisconsin played well. Missouri played well. So, I think it's a little bit of recency bias, Jesse, but maybe I'm wrong and you just have a different opinion, which is fine. I just can disagree. Would you want our New York Jets to sign defensive line players like Travis Jones or Jonathan Franklin? Yeah, I'll be down for JFM reunion. He's talking about a D end who's a run stuffer, but also could play the interior as a pass rusher. Like that'd be perfect. You re-sign JFM, whatever he is, 30, 31 years old, right? Something like that. He's the base D end. on rundowns, and then when it's a passing down, you flex him inside with Briggs, and then you sub in McDonald as an edge with JJ. That'd be perfect rush group right there. So yeah, I'd be 100% down to sign JFM. Love JFM. So versatile. Would you be comfortable bringing back Rucker as a tight end too, having compete with a mid-round kid? Yeah. Again, it's all relative to my expectations for the season. If they were competing for a Super Bowl or they had that potential, then maybe not. I would say if they were more competitive, or I expected maybe more competitive in 2026, 2026 is next season, I would say Rucker tight end 3 and bring in a surefire tight end 2, because I think the Jets are going to win 7, 8, 9 games next year. 6, whatever it's going to be, dependent. I would say Rucker as tight end 2 with competition is okay, right? Nothing to write home about. But Rucker, give him credit, he's been much better this year. Much better as a blocker. Catches passes that go to him, minus, last or 2 weeks ago, even though Fields was lit as hell on that. Yeah, I would say in general, but with some context. I always got to add context because I know the arguments and I just got to get my full thoughts out there. A lot of stuff circumstantial, right? So, David, yeah, I agree. It's obviously difficult to make draft predictions before free agency, but I think if you're stuck between 2 players, no doubt. If you're stuck with, that's easy to say. If you're stuck between 2 players in offense, 100%. I don't think Lions splurge on cornerbacks when Aaron is with his team. One, you got to surround the offense first, right? Because you're bringing a rookie this year or next year. And Stevens is getting paid next year. AZ Thomas is a rookie, a 3rd-round rookie who I think because of a bogus 40 time, he probably should have been a late 1st or early 2nd, and he's played well when he's been in there. And you have Brownlee who's under control. I don't think they're going to bring in a starter. They might bring in a 4 or 5. I can say Stigger's last game I was impressed with. Not primarily watching him, but watching him, just watching the entire team. Stiggers didn't stand out a lot last game or 2 games ago, which is a good thing for a corner. So maybe Stiggers is your 4, your 5, good special teamer. But do I think they need like a 4 and a 5, a 5 and a 6? Yeah. Talking about Mendoza. Oh, my bad. If that's what you're talking about. Mendoza playing well against lesser competition. Yeah, it's the thing with Mendoza is I think he'll be solid. Sometimes I think it's almost overstated where guys who aren't athletic can't be good. And I'm not, listen, understand this. I'll say this slowly. I am not comparing him to Tom Brady. Okay. I'll say it again. I'm not comparing him to Tom Brady. If I gave you Tom Brady's measurables, arm power, all that stuff, I said, can he be successful in today's NFL? You'd be like, oh yeah, he could probably be good, but not great because he lacks athleticism. Tom Brady was a Hall of Fame quarterback and one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So there's something to be said for processing and accuracy that Brady had, and that's why he's a Hall of Famer, probably the best quarterback of all time. It's obviously a high bar to reach for Mendoza, but can you be? Is it physically impossible for him to be a top 5 quarterback? I would say no. Do I doubt it because he's working? He's working from a tougher position because he's not overly athletic. Yes. Is it impossible? No. I think you guys understand what I'm saying, right? If Brady was coming out now, well, obviously the 6th-round pick, but it's like, hey, Brady's characteristics in a player. No, he can't be successful. He won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago with the Bucs at 40-something years old. So, problem is there's problems with him. Accuracy is there. Obviously, the reading is there. He can get stuck on his first read a little bit. He's not great throwing off platform. I think his arm is decent, but not great. So you're working behind the 8 ball a little bit in terms of him being a very, very good player. So am I trading up to 1 for him? Probably not. Me, if I'm doing it, obviously depends if you're pick 2 or 3 and you want to guarantee your spot. If you finish pick 2, you like Mendoza, don't love him. Would I trade a 2nd-round pick, get up a pick? Yeah, probably. But am I trading from 6 to 1 for Mendoza at this point? Probably not. If the Jets love him and they have conviction and they want him, fine, do it. I love the conviction, but for me personally, I'm not trading up for Mendoza. But that's true. Keldegato. Somebody said he didn't spend corner money. They did. They signed Carlton Davis for a big contract last year, and they drafted Arnold in the 1st. 100%. Yeah, Jesse, my bad, dude. Sometimes it's hard to a lot going on in the chat, obviously, right? My bad though. So I redact the statement about Simpson referencing to Jesse. David Muji was there in Denver for a year with JFM, so hopefully he's a little connection. I love you, David, but your arm is hurting from reaching there. Realistically, like it's more of the former Jets, him knowing guys around the building. Did Muji have any one-on-one conversations with JFM? Probably not. And were they impactful enough? No. He's not like, oh yeah, I talked to Muji passing him by in the hallway and waved at him. I'm gonna go sign with that guy. Like realistically, who gives a shit about that? It's more about the players. And it could be a thing where like Muji was in on the conversations about signing for JFM or trading for JFM. So he has background in knowing how good of a player and person he is or whatever. It's like that matters more, but it's not so more about like the connection there personally, unless you meant specifically like he had a part in signing him. So it may be that, but yeah. Have you seen any of Duke quarterback Darian Mensah? No. Yeah, I even like again when I was talking about Maeva and everybody else, dude from Oklahoma, Mateer. I'll say when I preface them, when I preface them, or when I'm prefacing them, when I speak about them, I'm speaking about them, assuming that the evals you're currently hearing are proper, because I can come back and say absolutely not with this guy. Again, there's people out there who called Evan Neal generational. Remember that? How long have you been here? Because I crushed Evan Neal pre-draft, and now he traded. He's a guard. He's a backup. I think. I don't know if he's a starting, but he's been awful with the Giants. So, and there's people who I trust who said Evan Neal was a blue chip player. I think Brandon Thorne had him as the best player in the draft. So. I don't just take anybody's opinion for whatever as my own. I can't do that. Wyatt Teller, Brady Christensen for our Jets offensive line to add. Yeah, maybe. Totally agree with the assessment of Mendoza. Yeah, and I'll have the reviews out there. I put a shit ton of plays on Twitter as well if you want to go and check those out, Jesse. But again, it's not like Mendoza's processing at all times is always elite. It's not like he's always off his first read with proper timing, or it's not, he doesn't always come off of his reads, quickly. He's always smooth for him. Like he can bounce, he can hang on to the first read for a little bit too long. He's not perfect in terms of mental. I think you're underselling how much they need a cornerback, and none of these guys can locate the ball, much less get an interception. I'm not blowing smoke up their ass. I'm more just seeing where they are as a team. Right? Like you're not going to spend a ton at corner when you need a quarterback, you need offensive players, right? Like I get it, but they just had a great corner in Sauce. They're not winning games with him, right? Like you gotta fix the offense first. So I'm not saying they don't not need a corner. Like if it's kind of like the other conversations I had, if they're a Super Bowl bound team, or they thought they were going to be, do I think that Stevens and AZ Thomas is good enough going to next year? No, but acknowledging that they're not really going to compete for anything meaningful next year. Am I okay with trying those guys out there? Yeah. Stevens, since the first 2 or 3 weeks, has been a solid corner too. It's really not debatable. I'm not saying he's going to be solid next year like that, but he's been a solid 2. AZ Thomas, and he's going to be miscast as the 1. AZ Thomas, 3rd round pick. If he continues to show out this year, am I okay with him starting? Yes, fine. And then Brownlee is your slot. So I'm not saying that you can't upgrade. I'm not saying it's a primary need where you don't have a starter like a center, like a receiver too, like a safety, right? Like you have nothing at safety next year. At least, okay, you have Malachi Moore. You quite literally do not have a free safety who's worth even sniffing the starting lineup. AZ Thomas is a player who's worth sniffing the starting lineup, and because of the evaluation, same thing with Stevens, same thing with Brownlee. So if you think I'm understating it, fine. I just think it's more of a secondary need for depth. And yes, you could improve starters, but I think they are in a spot where they can give those guys time to develop and see what they have. DJ Dirty Coat. Oh, okay. DJ Dirty. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm getting Fool's Gold vibes from Mendoza. I need to watch him more. I'll have reviews out. Again, $3 a month. I'll put up a 2-parter for him. They'll probably be an hour to 2 each. Or go on my Twitter and just I don't know what day I put up Mendoza, but I had like days where I put up guys. It was like 2 weeks ago on a Monday. You'll just see my timeline littered with Mendoza plays. and I probably put up like 50 plays of him. So if you're bored or you're actually interested in that stuff, not a lot of people are going to click through 50 plays and read my descriptions of them. But if you want to, go. If not, if you want to just listen or watch a review in the offseason, I'll have a full-blown review of him. I'm 6 foot in cleats, throw a good screen pass and get the ball out quick, run a 4.5. I could be a good bridge if that quarterback isn't looking good. Could you run a 4.5 though? A lot of people think they can run a 4.5, and I've seen those people say they're running a 4.5, run a 5.3. Gun to my head with knowing absolutely nothing about you, I don't think you're running a 4.5. I think you're underestimating how freaking fast that is. I'm going no. You run a 5.1, 4.9 at best. Time it, bus. Yeah, obviously I have no idea who you are, right? You could run a 4.4. I have no idea. You know, you could be John Ross commenting right now. I have no idea, but I think you're closer to 5 than you think you are. That's the case for most people. Mateer was solid before his hand injury. Had a few bad games after coming back from it, but he's been getting better since. Yeah, I'll if he's a guy who the Jets are talking about late first or something like that, I'll obviously watch him. You know, it's the thing where like, hey, Simpson goes back to school, Moore goes back to school. What are we doing? And like he's the second quarterback, I'll obviously watch him. We definitely need to sign a safety or draft one. Lots of free agency safeties. Yeah, they need a safety. They need a starter, if not 2. I would say 2. Ricardo, now that you put it that way, I agree. My bad. No, not your bad. Just a conversation. I'm like, Bus, you fucking idiot. You know, like DJ Dirty. Gee, I keep going to say it. A lot of sneaky good quarterbacks will be there in our third with our third pick on a quarterback using our first 2 on skill positions. If that quarterback doesn't work, we have 3 first. I'm okay with drafting a quarterback in the second or third round, but being realistic, if that quarterback was so good, he'd be a first round pick, right? So there's going to be flaws, right? Looks like Kanye. I'm pretty sure it is Kanye, right? It's like a doppelganger. If not, that's very Kanye-esque. I'm just not sure if Kanye has that broad of shoulders, though. That's my biggest hang up. The face is identical, but glasses, beard, it's I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% certain that's Kanye. Could the Jets buy low on Geno Smith as a bridge? Oh my god, dude, I don't know. He's just like flipping off the fans and stuff. I don't think he enjoyed his time in New York. I don't think that's going to work out. Would he be a good bridge? Yeah, fine for the Jets. I don't think so. Raiders O-line is a random guy. Yeah, Raiders O-line is booty. Ricardo, are you able to take a look at do a review? Like I said with the other guys, if in the offseason, if he's legitimately emerging as the second, third, fourth, fifth quarterback, yes, fine. Will I do that tonight? No. No. You'll see my all-time high suicide rates. Oh, at all-time high. Like, would I take Geno Smith for a game over Justin Fields? Yes. Would I take Justin Fields just individually for one game over Mariota? Yes. Minshew? Yes. Tyrod Fields? I think I said one of them before. Yes. With that being said, I no. I love our Jets to draft. Ace, yeah. I don't know all these names. I'm trying to think if there's anything else from the game. Any other questions, throw them in because I'll jump off in a couple of minutes. But anything else from the game I want to highlight? Offensive line. Fashion, remember, were both decent. Both had a few bad plays, though. Simpson, volatile like always. Pittman was good this game, minus whiffing on a one-back power. He comes to the second level, completely whiffed. Myers, snaps got improved, and he wasn't good in this game. Receivers, obviously, we talk about Mechie. He was more schemed. A.D. Mitchell got open many, many times and was not targeted. Mason Taylor, fine. Good blocker, very good blocker. Ruckert, overall good. Whiffed on a block or two. Defensive line, I talked about it. Interior was good. Exterior, not so good. Linebackers, Sherwood's been playing better, but not great. Quincy, good in this game. Corners, I think that both the corners struggled. I think Stevens struggled. I don't like the Kyle Wilson-esque play from him where Zay Flowers beat him on an out route, I believe. Flowers drops the ball and then he stares down the coach. It's like, bro, he dropped it. You had nothing to do with him dropping the ball there. So I don't think he played well. He blew up a screen, which was nice, but still not a great game. AZ Thomas bit so hard on a double move, he should have got beaten for a touchdown and then whiffed on a tackle badly. Safeties, Malachi Moore had a nice tackle, took on a lineman, expanded, made a tackle. Coverage, not much. Tony Adams sucks. Folk good, McNamara good. That's it for the quick wrap up. If there's anything else in the chat, I'll answer it. Past that, I'll jump out of here. I'm coming up to it. I'm also, if you guys are interested, or if you don't know already, I do reviews, film reviews with Jake Asman every week on the second show that he has of the day. So at 4:30, I'll be jumping on there, going to highlight some of the additions that Muji brought in. Briggs, Phillips, Mitchell, Mechie. I'm going to be highlighting on that. So if you want to come and listen to me talk to Jake and do a film review, stop by there in a couple of minutes. Let's see if there's anything else in the chat. Geno or Wentz? Oh my God. Give me Geno over Wentz, but Jesus. Contract-wise, would it be smart to taking a flyer on CJ Stroud as a bridge? I don't know his contract. I don't have time necessarily right now to look at it. If you're bringing in CJ Stroud, he's not a bridge. He's your answer. Obviously he struggled more, this year, even last year. This is his third year, right? He struggled more the last 2 years in his rookie year, but he's your answer. You're not trading all of that capital with the massive contract that you're going to have to give him and have him be your bridge. He's past the bridge. I kind of feel the same, not the same, but in a similar fashion to Murray. I don't think you're going to sign Murray for what he's going to want as a bridge. I think Murray's more than a bridge based on the contract he's going to demand, which is probably going to be $40 million plus, which is not because I like him. It's because of what goes on with quarterbacks in free agency. They're always going to be overpaid. Every position is overpaid in free agency. Let me correct that, but especially quarterback. What QB do you think will fit well with our offensive scheme? Or OC scheme, do you think he's going to change everything up? He'll change stuff up, no doubt, Moose, because you're going to run a different offense with a good processor and Mendoza or even Simpson than you would with a Justin Fields. So it's going to be changed up. I think Mendoza's probably the best fit for it versus Simpson, but not by much, really. There's only 20. Yeah, that's what I just said. He's more of the bridge. He's your answer. He's went from a top 5 to 10 quarterback to maybe like a mid quarterback recently, but the Texans offensive line is booty. He's your answer. You're not bringing a 24-year-old quarterback, paying him $50 million a year, trading assets for him and saying, yeah, he's our bridge to our next quarterback, and then draft a quarterback in the first round. That would be very bad. Appreciate the super chat, John. I have no problem drafting a quarterback in 26 and in 27 if need be. Yes, I kind of went through the scenario before, so I don't want to go through it all again. Is there a scenario where you could draft one in 26 and 27? If the one in 26 doesn't work out, yes. If you trade up for one in 26, like let's say you trade up for Mendoza to pick one, and then he's just okay, and then you're at pick 15 next year, you're not going to draft a quarterback or trade up for a quarterback, right? So it's all dependent on the circumstance. Now, if you draft Mateer in the second round and he sucks ass, then you can definitely draft a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So obviously there's context that needs to be added, but is there a scenario where I would? Yes. I feel like Geno would be bad vibes. He's a powder. Got his ass whooped last game and is throwing the bird to Raiders fans and stuff. He's not mature still, which is a problem. I mean, he's 30 something years old. Not to be that guy, but Jermaine Johnson is not good enough to be spending that much time on Twitter. Yeah. Do I think you should be quote tweeting randoms on Twitter? No. And the funny thing is, like, players typically just go into the search bar, and I'm assuming he'll type in Jermaine Johnson and then look for plays. I think the play he quote tweeted this week wasn't even Jermaine Johnson wasn't even mentioned. Like, I think the kid said number 11, but he didn't say Jermaine Johnson. So I don't know how he found it. There's just like algorithm Jets plays and stuff, but yeah. Yeah, Jermaine Johnson's an interesting case because he's an okay pass rusher, and this year I think he's been a little bit disappointing as a run defender. So we'll see what they do with him. Isaiah Simmons released. Does he fit? He was signed. And even if no, he's a light linebacker. The Jets don't need more light guys, need more heavy guys. Sam Howell or Taylor Heineke? No, my God. Again, have I watched these guys? So can I say definitively what's wrong with them? But absolutely not. Just raw reaction, absolutely not. Isaiah Simmons fits that he's a bad player and the Jets are bad. Yeah, like as a backup linebacker, fine, but no. With taxes, our shitty playing turf, toxic fans media, we have to overpay free agents. The Jets being the Jets and the taxes, yeah, we got to overpay guys. It is. I've said this 1,000 times. I think it's such bullshit that if you make, let's say $1 million, if you get a 1 year, $1 million contract with the Jets versus the Dolphins or the Texans, you're getting a lot more money with the Dolphins or the Texans at the end of the day when you actually cash those paychecks, which is bullshit. So if you play in a state that has heavy taxes, that affects the players, which affects them signing with us. Like, again, and I don't know the exact percentages, but a $20 million contract with the Jets, you may make the same with a $15 million contract from the Dolphins, which is total horseshit to me. They have to fix that somehow. I don't know how, but they have to fix that because teams who play in different states have it, or tax-free states or low-tax states have advantages over the Jets. Totally against trading up for a quarterback, lose these last 6 games and you don't get one for free. That's a preferred route, but if they don't lose and a quarterback is sitting there that they like, then they can do it. Why can we kill the Gardner Minshew thing? Why are Jets fans still obsessed with him? I don't think it's being obsessed with the Gardner Minshew Delgado. I think it's more from a lack of good options, at least seemingly. Any scenario, Fernando, from my dates, my dad hates me again, bus. Any scenario, Fernando gets drafted, Ty and Dante go back to school, we trade down and get another pick next year? Yeah, why not? Why not? You know, what happens if the Saints finish with pick number 1 and they don't want to trade with the Jets? He's drafted at 1. Simpson, Dante go back to school because they fall off or whatever, and the Jets don't love the top of the draft and they trade back. Yeah, no doubt. Why not? 100% possible. Marvin, is it a must that the Jets draft a rookie quarterback and that is it a must that if the Jets draft a rookie quarterback that he sits for an entire year? Not for an entire year, but sits for at least half a year. Yeah, I would be okay if they sat on for an entire year. I really would. Does that happen in today's NFL? No. Usually see him after 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 games. So, but yeah, should he start right away? Absolutely not. Toxic owner is more impactful. More impactful than what? Money? I wouldn't say money. Is he more impactful than the like who was it? Who was it on? Damn it! What running back? Oh, Josh Jacobs. Did you guys hear Josh Jacobs last week? I think they played the Giants in MetLife, and then he's like, "Yeah, I knew that turf sucks. Like it's so hard or whatever." Then he hurts himself. So does that impact free agents? You know, the turf. Yeah, that comes into consideration. Does the tax come into consideration? Yeah. Does the Jets sucking come into consideration? Yes. Does the owner getting a bad report card and meddling and stuff get thrown into consideration? Yes. Is it the most impactful? Yeah, I don't know if I'll go there. Toxic fans, field media. I'm being real here, Brian. Are the fans that toxic, or are we just mad because we've been losing for 15 years? You know, like I don't think we're necessarily toxic. I don't think we're toxic fans, man. I don't. I think that Jets fans are pissed off and they deserve to be pissed off. What makes the Jets fan toxic? Like, are we overly negative? Is there something to be positive about the last 15 years? Why are Jets fans toxic? We're reactionary. Every fan base is reactionary. You know, look at the Eagles fans. Eagles. I just quote tweeted an Eagles fan who's bitching about them not winning the last game against the Cowboys. They've been to 3 Super Bowls in 7 years and won 2 of them. Eagles fans are toxic. You know, so like I don't know. Ship has sailed. Rather than you watching a second round quarterback, I want to suggest you have some fun and watch Cardinal Tate or Jordan Tyson, compare them. Yeah. That's those guys are on my radar. Obviously, the receivers. I don't think the fans, media, or field is the issue. I'd say the owner is the most toxic. They're all issues. Again, like I don't know how you necessarily like the percentage blame to each. That's hard to do off the top of my head. I'd have to really think about it. Yeah, I don't know. Calling for AG to be fired just a few games in is 100% toxic. But how many fans are truly calling for him to be fired? If you're saying I was not. I was saying if he continues to play like this, or if he continues to coach like this the entire year, then yes. He's improved a little bit, but dude, like Jets fans have been losing for 15 years. Again, Eagles fans are calling for coaches to be fired and Hurts to be benched because they're losing games when they just won Super Bowl with them last year. So who's toxic? Like, it's hard not to be angry when you lose so much. I can't blame Jets fans for that. I cannot. Grass maintenance can't be that expensive. $2 billion. Yeah, man, I'm with you, Bus. I'm with you. Like, they brought in grass field for the World Cup or whatever it was. Bring in a grass field, man. Did you see what field is that in, like, is it Europe or Ireland or whatever it is, where like the field drops down? I think who is that? Kay Adams. I think she quote tweeted. I think that's how I saw it. The field like drops down. It's automatically mowed. It's automatically like taken care of, watered, all this stuff, and then comes back up for games. Like, I'm not even saying that, but like, you can't afford a grass field. You know, and if you actually look at the percentages of injuries, turf to grass, it's really not that big of a difference. But everybody says the turf specifically at MetLife sucks. So change it. At least change the turf or get grass. I saw Twitter post the Eagles. It just embarrassed. It's like, we're toxic. Like, come on. Just exhausted. Yeah, I'm not going to say Jets fans are toxic, man. I can't agree with that. Every fan calls for coach. Again, Nick Sirianni. There's plenty of fans who, in our situation, would be calling for the same thing. You guys aren't as balls deep into the fan bases and how overreactionary they are. You know, go to Bucs fans who are losing right now, or whoever. I'm sure there's Chiefs fans who are like, oh, I don't know if Mahomes is the answer still, or, you know, whatever. Andy Reid sucks. It happens. Especially with the roster that is not his. Okay, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. I got to jump off. Eagles fans will call for coach to be fired. They literally are right now. They are right now. Every fan base does it. People are victim of circumstance of recency, not circumstance, recency bias. You know, you can have a team who's 9-0, they lose 3 or 4 games in a row, they're 9-4 and still in a spot to make the playoffs. They're like, oh my God, the coach needs to be fired. They suck. So for Jets fans who've been losing for 15 years at a historic rate in the most embarrassing fashion at times, for them to be pissed off at a whatever it was, an 0-7 record to start, with many of those games being blowouts. I can't fault Jets fans for criticizing or for asking him to be fired, or not asking him to be fired right now, but at the end of the year, I was saying, you know, you get blown out in your second game against the Bills. It was 30-10. It could have been 55-0 if they wanted it to be. They took the foot off the gas in the third quarter. You know, Bucs game, they got in it late because of a block field goal. The Dolphins game, we were down 2 scores most of the game. They closed it to a 1-score game and an onside kick like that. They got beat pretty badly by a bad Dolphins team in that game. Cowboys game, they got embarrassed. So like, yeah, it's people are pissed off. I'm not calling people being pissed off toxic though, if you get what I'm saying. So real issues, Giants and Jets host concerts and ruin the grass. Dude, you figure it out, dude. It's 2025. Figure it out. I'm sure they can. Okay, so you have hockey, you have teams who share arenas in terms of hockey and basketball. They flip the court or whatever it is, and it turns from ice to, doesn't turn from ice to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they lower it, raise it, slide it, whatever it is, and it's ice to change the surface. Then have a freaking platform that goes over the grass. They can afford it. Hurts watching JSN every Sunday, highlight reel, but man, Will McDonald has been good. Can't complain too much. Yeah, you can though. Being realistic, I think you can complain about that, because at that point in the draft, I wanted JSN. I didn't reevaluate him, but I remember watching him. I was watching Garrett Wilson. I'm like, dude, Jackson Smith is a dude. And they needed a receiver more than they needed the end of that spot. So when that pick came up, I was like, I don't love the options because of, you know, JSN was more of a slot guy and all this stuff, whatever it was at that point. But I was definitely JSN over Will McDonald at that point, and they drafted Will McDonald, and it was the wrong decision at this point, you know, but it is what it is. I appreciate you. I got to be on Jake's show in 8 minutes, or it starts in 8 minutes. So I got to jump over there with me if you want. If not, whatever it is, what it is. $3 a month for the film reviews, $5 a month for the entire website. I appreciate you guys. I will catch you